So as I'm sure you're aware, Nintendo has released a new Splatoon 3 trailer in the most recent Nintendo Direct that happened a couple days ago. And originally I wanted to make a first impressions deep dive analysis of the whole 3-minute trailer, but instead I'm going to be breaking these into different videos so that I can really focus and take my time while getting these out to you as soon as possible. Starting with what I think is the most popular opinion for the game, the character customization. But if you'd like to see me go over other aspects of the trailer, which I will be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, you know the deal. Anyways, that being said, the trailer starts off with the character customization that we're used to, although not quite. When you start the previous games, you're in this menu and they're all standing together, and in this case, it's not. It's more reminiscent of the Octo expansion and how you first customize your Octoling. So it begs the question, when you first launched Splatoon 3, if this is the first customization that you go through. Although it makes me wonder, after playing the story mode and you want to customize your character, do you have to go back into the screen, or are we going to have that menu with everyone standing? I don't know, not a big deal, just the first thing I noticed. Although the first thing that everyone else seemed to notice is that we can't choose genders in this game. Instead, it looks like we're choosing between eyebrows. So you'll see here, you can choose between Inkling and Octoling, but then you have either thin or thick eyebrows, the thin ones having that cut on the side. Now this is really good news for people who identify as being male but want to use a female hairstyle. In the previous games, you weren't really able to mix this up, and the game would kind of tell you, no, then you're female if you want to use this hair, which doesn't necessarily make sense. A guy could have long hair, but there might not be long hair available for the male Inklings and Octolings. And in this game, it doesn't really imply a gender, so you can just freely choose your hairstyle. Not surprisingly, as our protagonist takes off their mask, we're able to choose our skin tone, with 2 more options available. There were 7 in Splatoon 2, and there's 9 here. The glasses come off, and we're able to choose our eye color. And while we have the previous 14 that we had, there's now 6 new multicolored options. And the way these color blotches work from left to right is first the pupil, the center of the eye. Second, the iris, the color on the outside, and the ones with the third color on the right, that's the border around the iris. The hood comes off and we're able to choose our hair. Unfortunately, the trailer doesn't allow us to see all the hairs available. We can only see 7. Although with the last one kind of half faded, it implies that we could continue scrolling and at least have a few more options. The first 4 on the left being new hairstyles. The first one looks pretty similar to the original OG Inkling hairstyle that we had in Splatoon 1 and 2, called Hippie, except the left has been cut and braided, and then the second hair looks like braids across the top of the head. Moving on to the third new hairstyle, we have the very popular messy hair, and if you look carefully at the tips of the tentacles, they're starting to dry. And the fourth one being the last new hairstyle on this menu, we see kind of a bowl cut with a big slit in the front and a little bit of hair peeking out from the back. And then we have the usual suspects from the previous games. Hippie with the long side tentacles, top knot where 2 tentacles are tied back, and haircut, kind of a shorter version of Hippie with the tentacles not hanging so far. We have our heroes standing up to choose their leg wear, but not so fast. There's a lot more hair in this trailer that we need to cover. Later on in the city, we see someone using the double pigtail style that debuted in Splatoon 2. And as the camera pans, we see someone with the abruptly cut banger hairstyle that we saw debut also in Splatoon 2. Then shortly later in another scene, way in the distance, we see someone with the pony hairstyle with it just tied back. And if we go back to the previous view of the city, right before the Splatoon 3 logo pops up, on the very left, we see someone rocking the Tentacurl hairstyle, where it just parts from the side and curls at the ends, also known as the Bridget hairstyle, but that's enough for previous hairstyles. What about the new stuff? Later on in the trailer, right before a match starts, we get a good look at both teams and all their hairstyles. And this is where on the yellow team, we get to see this top bun, which kind of swirls at the top. And then speaking of swirls, the person next to them has this kind of pompadour look. And then on the other team, the Hydra user has a curly hairstyle where both their tentacles on either side curl down. And then beside them, we see the last new hairstyle that we've seen that looks very similar to the already established Tentacurl, but it's parted from the center and not from the side. Now, after spending hours going through this trailer, the ones that I couldn't find were Punk, Mush Cut, Double Bun, Wove, Stick, Buzz Cut, Hipster, Spiky Haired, and Afro. Now, that doesn't mean that these hairstyles aren't in Splatoon 3. A lot of Inklings and Octolings were wearing hats or very blurry in the background, or maybe they just don't appear in the trailer. But as that stands, it gives us a grand total of 14 hairstyles shown throughout the trailer, and there's currently 16 hairstyles in Splatoon 2. Now, if we go back to the beginning of the trailer where our hero was standing up and we're choosing our leg wear, there's not a lot to say here. There was originally 8 Pant Styles in Splatoon 2, and it seems there's 9 available in Splatoon 3. The new one being the third option, these baggy shorts, I guess. I tried going through the trailer to see if I could find anyone wearing it, and this is the closest I could find, but it's so hard to see. It could just be another pair of shorts. It's hard to say. And lastly, I'll go over new gear that appears in the trailer. And fun fact, all the gear being shown in the match near the end of the trailer is all new. I wish I knew that before searching each one individually. To quickly go over it, skipping our protagonist for a second, we see this like winter hat, I guess, with long sides, a very trendy button-up t-shirt with orange and purple and then stripes on the other side, and these purple and yellow sandals or shoes. You can see their toes poking out the front. Next we have a mask. It's yellow. A black and purple and yellow Takoroka jersey. Sandals, but of the yellow and black variety. These huge Mad Max looking goggles. A red vest over a long sleeve red shirt. And these red and white shoes with a cut in the front. And now the purple team, we have these red headphones. A off-white button-up t-shirt. And these shoes with like a web design on top of it that in one scene looks blue, but then in another scene they look white, like they're glow in the dark. The Octoling next to them is wearing a purple and white striped helmet with some autographs on the side, a yellow camping or survival vest over a gray t-shirt, and snow boots that are completely white. Next to them, we have the amazingly cool 8-bit glasses, a long, really comfy looking gray sweater, red shoes with black buckles going around it, and then right next to them, alternatively, black shoes with what appears to be red buckles, a green jersey over top of a white long sleeve shirt, and an incredible looking Viking helmet, which apparently comes with a pair of glasses. And lastly, of course, going back to our protagonist, we see them taking off this robe. And because we don't really see it later on or any other point during the trailer, I'm going to assume it's just their way of revealing the character as we customize them. But the red and gray shoes with the straps are new, and so is the shirt. And since we see them wearing it later in the city and in the match, I assume it's something that you get after beating the story mode, or these torn up clothes are the new starting gear. But on the topic of torn, I found something really interesting. Later on in the trailer, during the match, the Gal user has a couple rips on the inside of their pants. And then not even a second later, the Hydra user has 4 rips on the top of their thigh. When you go back to the beginning of the match where they're spawning in, it doesn't look like they have these rips, which immediately led me to believe that maybe they ripped throughout the match. But anyways, that about sums up this video. If you liked, I'm kidding. Don't worry, I didn't forget about little buddy. After choosing and customizing your own character, you get to choose the hairstyle of your little salmonid friend. We have what looks to be one of those little brushes that you find underneath your vacuum. The only kind of hairstyle I know how to draw. The rebellious stage where little buddy listens to music that you wouldn't understand. Goon, Karen, Broccoli, and whatever that is. Does it matter? You can see it. But what does matter is if you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and let me know in the comments if I missed anything or got anything wrong. And what I'll do is I'll keep an eye on the comment section for the next several days. And if I find out anything I claimed in this video is wrong, I'll include it in a pinned comment at the top. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see the next part of my analysis for this trailer, where I'm going to be going over the battle mechanics and the new specials and weapons and just the match itself that we see later on in the trailer. But if you don't do that, at least do this. Take care of yourself. I'll see you then. What has it stand? 16? 1, 2, 3.